So today we've got an hour with Ali Powell, who I'm going to describe to you as an occupancy expert. So when Ali came to talk to us about working with us and our members, she was keen to help share her skills and experience and insights into how members across the board can help to build, improve and retain their overall occupancy levels. So we said to Ali, great, come and talk to members. So we've got hopefully a fairly interactive webinar. I know Ali is keen to take your questions as they come up. So if you pop them in the chat, I'll try and keep an eye on them. And I know she's also got some questions I think that she might want to pose to you as she's walking us through her slides. We are going to record the webinar and we'll put it on our website, and obviously we can send the recording out to attendees if they want to share with colleagues. And Ali has very kindly said she'll share her slide deck as well, so we'll be able to send out the PDF of the slides. This is a learning and sharing webinar, really. So do ask Ali all the things that occur to you. Feel free to either put your hand up or put questions in the chat. And we've got plenty of time in the structure of the session for you to do that. Great. Yeah, so should we get going then? Are you ready to go, Ali?
Yeah, ready.
Yep, brilliant. Okay, over to you.
Okay, hello everybody. Lovely to meet you. Hope you had a nice weekend. I had some fireworks displays going on, so that was very nice in the autumnal weather. And yeah, hope you're doing well. So thank you for joining today as we talk about proven strategies to increase occupancy, which is always a hot topic. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'll just ask one of our lovely ladies to say they can see this okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Liz. Okay, thank you. So, hi everybody. I'm Ali Powell, and I run Commercial Acceleration, which is a sales, marketing, and customer experience consultancy that helps care homes and later living operators to increase their occupancy. So today, really delighted to have you join me on this really important topic. Thank you. I'll be sharing 6 practical strategies of real ways to increase occupancy in care homes. Happy to take any questions along the way, and we'll finish earlier as well so that we can come off Zoom here and talk openly. So just a little bit about myself. I specialize in this sector. I absolutely love it. Like you all on the call, I have my own personal reasons and passions of why I'm in this sector, and I love it. I also work in hotels, which is very relevant and applicable as well. And yeah, as Liz kindly said, I would say I'm a trusted occupancy growth partner, and I work all over England, helping all sorts of size operators from large companies to small to one care homes. So this is all very applicable to everyone, and I hope you take lots of practical examples from this. Okay, so just go on to the next slide here. Hope everyone is able to hear me okay. So this is the reality that we're facing at the moment, that it is tricky times. This is what I always hear from different operators as I go around England. And let's just bring out a few of them. That inquiry volumes can be inconsistent, the occupancy is unstable, or there's urgent pressure to fill up our homes. Then we talk about the mix of our residents and the more need to shift to private paying permanent residents, that our conversion rates can be sub-ideal, that we need to convert more from either lead to visit or visit to move in. And that competition is intensifying. So things are getting harder. Speed to leave is getting shorter. So it's a challenging environment. And the great thing about this webinar and the topic of marketing, sales, and customer experience is these things are within our control to change. So lots what we're going to do today, that is the good news that we can change a lot. They are in our control to fix things or optimize things, whereas many things in the world, politics, economic situation, everything is out of our control. And getting higher occupancy is extremely important because the cost of vacancy is absolutely enormous. So I just took an average care home weekly resident fee, let's say 1,400, let's times it by 52. You get to huge amounts of numbers of revenue. So 72,800 is the cost of the weekly fees there multiplied by 52. And if we had 10 rooms that were vacant, we just, times that by 10 and we're hitting 728,000 is absolutely enormous numbers. So the focus of today and just the focus of our growth engine, which is marketing, sales, having a brilliant customer experience is absolutely enormous. And I'm obviously a huge fan and advocate of this. And I really hope more and more people take this area more seriously and professionalize it. So what will we cover in today's session? Well, in our time, I'd like to go through 6 proven strategies. So I'm going to cover areas that go from the top of the funnel, from when people first find out about us in the customer journey, which is more around the awareness stage, the more marketing part. And then we come down the funnel to actually having more of a consideration about, well, do I go to this place or that place? And then come down the funnel to then, through to a visit, through to follow up, where then we will actually get a decision to hopefully purchase us and then retention. So there's 6 things that I would like to go through today, and I've put them on the board there. We'll go from lead generation to building trust to relationship-based sales, customer journey excellence, creative follow-ups, and then measuring what matters. So let's start with the top of the funnel with lead generation. So the goal here is to achieve a consistent amount of the right quality leads. So it's all about the quality, really, not just a quantity of, irrelevant leads or job seeker leads. This is about getting a consistent rhythm of the right number of quality leads per month so that they can filter down through the funnel. So if I just sort of make this a bit interactive here, I would just be keen to ask you on the call, what do you think is the right number of leads we need per month per care home? Do you think it's A, 0 to 5 only? B, 5 to 10, C, 10 to 20, or D, 20 to 25? I would love you to just have a think about that. I'm just going to come off screen here so I can see some people more. So yeah, A was 0 to 5, B 5 to 10, C 10 to 20, and D, the highest number one, the 20 to 25. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for anyone. Just please write some comments there as you're doing. That's really interesting to hear. I'll just pause there for a bit. Thank you. Okay, great. Well, let's go back on and talk about the answer. So the actual answer is D. We need about 20 to 25 quality leads per month. And there's a science algorithm I could share with you to how we work this out. But yeah, it's a consistent rhythm of quality leads coming through. So achieving that really needs to have a dedicated and consistent approach to it rather than just randomly hoping just people are somehow going to inquire and build it, they will come sort of mentality. So how do we start doing that then, that we achieve the consistent number that we need? Well, the sector that we work in is one of the most sophisticated sales and marketing, services and solutions out there, because it's a really emotional journey that everyone is on. This change transition from on the left, people going from a place of often fear, anxiety, guilt. So, the care seeker, the elder daughter, who I just put in that cartoon there, thinking, well, really want to move my dad in, but it's full of emotion. It's full of, guilt and my poor daughter. So anxious. Are they going to be okay? They're going to be distressed. And then our job in sales marketing is how we can help to be a lovely guide and support people to come over that bridge full of trust and confidence. And that takes a lot of skill to do that. So yes, I'm just wanted to point out this before and after, which is what we will be achieving when we do carry out optimal sales and marketing practices. So let's look at then how we start to build trust, because trust is absolutely critical on this journey. So I'm going to go through a few of these areas now that I've put in the slide here, just some images of how we're going to start to build trust, because we know that it's such an emotional decision versus, say, rationale. There's definitely elements of rationale, but a lot of it, and more so, is emotional and really about empathy, which we're going to talk about a lot. So, how do we build trust? What are some great tactics out there that achieve trust? Well, I'm firstly going to cover testimonials. Testimonials are a really fantastic way of building trust with our care seekers and potential residents. And I would ask you on the call here, how many of you have testimonials? Testimonials in place. So there's different ways of showcasing testimonials. I've put a few just here on the slide. There are written testimonials, and then there's videos which are often put on YouTube, where you can really show the life of the resident, why they find it so fantastic. It's a really brilliant tool because there is nothing so powerful as hearing the advocacy from people who are lived there themselves. So what is another way of building trust? Reviews. Reviews are really important. They are more than a reputational tool. They are really part of your digital footprint. So there's many review sites out there. I've just put a few on the slide here. There's Google, there's carehome.co.uk, there's OpenScore. And I would ask you, how many reviews do you have coming in per month? Have you got one or two? And what is the score of them? If it's something like Google that scores it out of 5, do you consistently get over 4.7 or 4.8 ideally? Do you have one or two coming in a month? So review sites are really important to building trust. And increasingly with AI, tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools are really having their algorithms sort of suck in all of these Google reviews and carehome.reviews, and it really helps with the authority ratings. So I would really encourage you, if you're not really optimizing reviews, to think, how could you get more reviews? So sometimes we have those postcards that can come from carehome.co.uk. Some other care homes have produced their own cards, like Google review cards that they hand out to people. Do you promote it that way? Do your team hand them out? Also there's other ways to get more reviews, such as putting it in your newsletters to encourage people. So reviews will get more and more important. And then let's cover one other really great way to build trust with people as we talk about transparency. And this is on the bottom here, is about really providing useful content that people are finding incredibly useful when they are searching for their loved ones. So I put some on the slide here. There's many different topics that answer the questions people are answering in that book. You know, you ask, they ask, you answer. So there's some here. You know, what's it like about what are the activities that you have going on? We can include an activities brochure. How do you fund care home? We can have a funding brochure. You know, the steps of dementia. There's lots of different questions that people are asking. And by us putting this fantastic information out in blogs and guides, it's a super way to build trust with people. And great content is also excellent for search engine optimization marketing. That will really help to get up the top rankings in Google, as well as be served up in AI tools if we have this brilliant content that pulls up. And great content earn belief, and belief converts. So I wanted to ask another interesting question here on the marketing side. It says about 20 different marketing channels you could be using to reach out to potential care seekers and residents. And I wondered if I could just ask people again another interactive question. And I've put a clue on the visual slide here about what do you think is the highest converting channel? So what I mean by that is what has got a very strong likelihood that when someone comes through this channel, that it moves to the next stage down the funnel, which would be getting a visit with us or a move in. I'm going to just come off my screen here again just to see if you could maybe have a guess. You know, is it social media? Is it your website? Is it Google pay-per-click adverts? Is it events? Is it local advertising, newspapers, magazines, radio adverts? It's about 20 different marketing channels of how people could come through to you. But when we talk about marketing, we want to be really precise with where we target because it's all about return on investment and having the, you know, the lowest cost per acquisition. So knowing what channels really convert well is very critical information and intelligence to know. So yeah, thank you for putting some of your comments in the slide there. So I have some people say, yeah, word of mouth, recommendation, events. Just reading some of these out. Yeah. So I'm going to come back on the screen here as we talk through the answer, which is all about this channel here is all about community networking. So I'm just going to come off here a second. Oh, I don't know if I'm just having a technical issue. I'm just here. Hi, Liz. Can you see me okay? I'm
I can
just,
see you. I can't see your slides.
yeah, just one second. Thank you for that. Let me just put this back up. I think I was double sharing on another screen. So let me just put that up and we can talk through the answer about community networking and the power of this. So let me just press share. Thank you, Liz, for giving me that feedback. Just one second. Boom, boom, boom. So the highest converting channel is community networking. So we can see that one there. So I'm just going to,
no, you're not in full presenter mode, Ali.
okay, no problem. Let's just present here at the bottom. Not quite yet, is it, Liz? It's trying.
It's trying.
Trying to be in presenter mode. Um, no problem. Let me just make this bigger and then I'll come out again. So I don't do right. I'll do a
When
bit.
you say community, I presume you're meaning word of mouth, recommendations, kind
Yes,
of local, the local nous, the local vibe.
yes, that's right.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
many different sort of pictures I've put here just to show some of those examples. Could be the church fair, could be inviting in local groups such as the Women's Institute or the University of Third Age. great groups of like-minded, care seekers and potential residents, people that would love to refer us and recommend us. So usually with this channel, I encourage care homes to make like a list of 50 relevant organizations, and they can be divided into subsections. So what are the sort of healthcare type segments, whether that's GPs, osteopaths, hospitals, that is a form of community. Then you might have churches. Then another segment might be relevant sports associations, such as the local golf, bowling. It's just great to constantly be reaching out to these people, ideally twice a week, to form relationships, and then they have an excellent conversion to to convert to visits and move-ins. Okay, so then we're going to talk about a different area down the funnel now, which is about relationship-based selling. So
You're still quite not in presenter mode, Ali.
okay, no problem. Let me just put it in my other slide here, and then I'll share. Let me just see this one, and then I'll share this way. Thank you to Rob as well, putting in some notes about the market stall as an example. So yeah, I think there's many amazing different examples of community networking going on. And the key is to be very hyper local to your area. Is that one okay, Liz? Now it looks quite big in my screen.
Super.
Super, thank you for that. Yes, it's good. I'm all about visibility, so that's great. So yeah, thanks Rob for your comments. Just yeah, the more local community outreach you can do that's relevant for your area, the better. So then we're on to number 2 now of our proven tips to increase occupancy, and this would be about relationship-based selling. So the opposite of relationship-based selling would be what I would call more transactional or dry, clinical, where it's just not really getting to know the human people, and it's not so much about empathy and connection. Whereas the key to increasing occupancy in our sector is all about really building that trust that we just spoke about so much, and demonstrating that through empathy and connection, curiosity. That will really, really drive occupancy if we slow down and really take a massive interest in getting to know the potential residents, as well as the families who are seeking out the care in the first place. So I just put an image here of like a door being unlocked with questions, because this is the power to unlocking relationship-based sales. It's about constantly asking more really relevant questions to get to know um, the person better, who they are, their needs, their likes, their wants, their preferences, their anxieties. And often people will think, well, yeah, we do this at the assessment stage or when they move in. But for me, that is way too late. The key to great conversions and occupancy for me starts with starting to use relationship-based selling right at the beginning, at the first phone call, and then building on that through the tours, and then through the follow-up. So a saying I just like useful sayings that say things simply, is the more you know, the more you close. So this is all about the discovery that I meant about. It's all about connection, asking those really open connection questions, such as what prompted you to reach out today? And then really allowing that silence and that space to really listen. You might learn, for instance, that the mother really loves brownies, or that she used to be a florist, or that she loves to watch her grandson play football. This is not small talk. It's really strategic gold for personalizing tours. So I would just encourage everyone here, is the more you know, the more you close. And thinking about those first phone calls and the customer inquiry forms that you might have, are they rich enough with deeper human connection questions, or are they more just transactional, dry and medical? And I would, encourage us to make them more human-centered. And I want to give you an example of this in action. if I tell the story of Marta on the screen here. So Marta being this lovely lady with her blue knitted cardigan around her. So we found out about Marta right on the first phone call about asking the daughter, what is your mother's main hobbies? She said, well, she's really obsessed with knitting and loves to make things for herself, for her friends, for charity, and her grandchildren. So knowing that from the call, we could then tailor the tour to coincide with when the knitting group was meeting. Some people call this knitter natter. Some people just have a knitting group. If you don't have knitting groups going on, as many of you might say, you would know if there's a certain resident or two who are into knitting that you could think, well, that would be a lovely person to meet on the tour. And then after that, it links to follow up. So could you send some creative follow up, such as a knitting pattern, because you know that she wanted to make a knitting item for her grandson. So maybe here's a knitting pattern of a cute little beanie or a hat you could make. So that is an example of really getting to know the person, because we're all in this for that real love of connection. And we do that through great curiosity and empathy. And if we can keep showing that along the way, this red thread that will come out in the phone call, then demonstrated on very personalized tours, and then brilliant, creative, thoughtful follow ups, that is an excellent way to be standing out to the competition and increasing occupancy. So then to cover a third area in terms of a strategy for increasing occupancy, and I think an area where I feel there's massive opportunity because I don't see this consistently at all when I'm going around everywhere, is about customer journey excellence. So this is really about thinking, where are the gaps in my customer journey where a potential resident might drop off because our processes are not optimal, or they have gaps in them. So I'm going to go through some typical stages in the customer journey and gaps I see often that we could plug. So the customer journey, just to say what I mean by that, I've put this sort of diagram on the screen here. It's often not as linear as this. You know, people come in for tours and they come back for second tours, third tours. But down this journey from that top of the funnel where we started this webinar, the awareness piece, there's all these leaky bucket moments that are happening. So maybe the customer hears about us, they come onto the website, but then the phone number doesn't work. That's an example of a leaky bucket, or that we haven't captured their details on a contact form. That would be an example of a leaky bucket. Or maybe they ring, but then no one answers the phone. That's leaky bucket. Or the phone is answered, but it's in a really just rushed transactional way that puts the customer off, then they leak out. So there's constantly leaks happening in our customer journey. In marketing terms, we'd call it the leaky bucket. And my question with you would be, do we know in your journey, where are the main areas where our potential customers are leaking out? There are some big shocking statistics out there in our sector about, for instance, the number of calls that go unanswered, the number of follow-ups that never happen. And this is costing us huge amount of revenue, those shocking numbers that we started at the beginning of the call. So let's ask another question here. How many touch points do we think is the average amount of sales and marketing touch points that occur from when a customer is at the start of the funnel, that awareness stage, and then coming through to the phone call, the tour, the follow-up? So up to the point where they would be moving in. How many touch points are there where we could have an impact to make sure this is optimal here? Please just put some comments in the thoughts here. Do you think it's A, like not many, just 5 to 10 moments? B, very high, like maybe 35 to 40? Or C, like 20 to 25 points? I'll just pause there for a bit to let people put some answers in. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your engagement. Really appreciate it. So the answer there is actually C, that the typical number of touch points in the customer journey for care home sector is 20 to 25. So I see that as there's 20 to 25 chances to influence the outcome, or if you were saying that in a skeptical way, to drop the ball. So I'm always auditing these and sort of scoring each one of them out of 5 to see how optimal each of them are. And I would just sort of ask you on the call here, are you doing that to know from the customer's shoes, walking in the customer's shoes, where might your care home or care home group be dropping the ball that we could fix? So I'm going to go through some very common ones that I see all the time, starting with call handling excellence. So the phone call, and I've just got some examples here of the feelings that people are making when they're reaching out to us on these critical calls, very emotional, as we talked about. The first phone call can really set the tone for the entire relationship because there's so much difficult emotions going on there. It's one of the most, or not the most difficult calls someone will make. And it can be a real moment of breaking or making the entire relationship. So why I say this is one of the biggest areas I work on is because of the statistics that we have tracking the amount of missed calls. So I have access to a lot of data because I'm benchmarking all the time over England. And I would just ask us on average if we could guess here about the amount of missed calls, just to put that title up on the screen. What do you think is the amount of average missed calls in England in care homes that are going on? Do we think A, like, not that many, that we're actually getting 80% of the calls? So it's only 30% we're losing. Is it B, even less than that? We're just really answering the call all the time. So it's only missing 10 to 20%. Or is it C, that we might be missing over 50% of calls? So I will pause again just to ask you, please, for your interactivity of any guesses here. Please put your comments in the chat. I might ask you, Liz, here, just because I'm concerned to come off the sharing thing. Would you mind for this one if you could see if there's any common themes of answers coming up there? Is it C's or B's or?
A lot of C's.
Yeah.
1A. That's quite
Yeah.
optimistic. Oh, and a few B's. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
hmm
I would, yeah. Oh, hang on. Somebody's just put something. I would say C's are mostly winning with a sprinkling of, yeah, sprinkling of A's.
Yeah.
Mostly C's.
Oh, thanks. I like how you say sprinkling. Makes me hungry. Um, yeah, so it's actually C. Yeah, so I think the majority was right. Unfortunately, over 50% of calls are missed. And so you think that moment, how much it took for someone to make a call in the first place, and then it's just not being answered. It's just highly distressing. And my rhetoric question would be, imagine what, your occupancy or all other care home groups in England occupancy could look like if calls were handled well and they were answered. It would be amazing. Occupancy would be so much higher if consistently calls were answered um, in a timely manner or just answered at all. And then when calls are answered, I do a lot of training in my life, and we go through what good calls look like and bad calls look like. And I'm just putting here just some simple things that we talk through in terms of great standards, or some people would call them standard operating procedures, about what is a good call versus a bad call. So the difference here would be the speed of answer. Excellent would be answering a call within three wings, not 15 or not at all. And then environment plays a really important factor in terms of having a nice, calm, quiet environment. And then what I talk about a lot with people is about, I would use the word speed to lead, but the response time on inquiries. So when inquiries do come into you through various channels, it could be in the website, could be online directories like Lottie or Autonoma, what is your response time? And great for me would look like 5 minutes. And I know many of you will say, but that's really hard. And yeah, there's so many other zillion things going on. We all need to be cloned 5 times. I think in the spirit of the competitive world that we're living in, operators are just getting much more fast about responding quickly to inquiries here, because there's statistics again proving that 60% of people will go with the first responder. So how could we look at that for your care home group to think, how could we, make sure we could get back to inquiries faster? Is there a dedicated person who's always looking at the inbox, for instance? How do we prioritize that? Because we do need leads, like we need 20 to 25 per care home per month, as we spoke about at the beginning. And then when we're on those calls, those critical calls, really where we have such skill of dealing with people that are in such a tricky situation, is how is our empathy? Empathy is our superpower. And the best teams and people on the phones have such a great amount of empathy to really put yourself in the customer's shoes and respond in very empathetic ways, that they're also asking a lot of discovery questions, like we talked through before with the example of Martha, just how that shows through as a red thread. Just very lovely, open curiosity questions that get people to open up and to start building that trust if it's appropriate. And then obviously we want people to come in. So getting a visit booked and having the contact details along with that, so that you know who the person is, their name, their phone number, their email. That is a great call. And then another leaky bucket moment that happens a lot when we talk about the call handling part is what happens out of hours. So we know that prospects don't inquire just within 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And we have lots of statistics to show the amount of out of hours calls that are coming in. And some of you, will have your own data on that depending on what phone systems that you're on. So the amount of out of hours is constantly growing, with people making calls, say 7 o'clock on a Friday night, 3 o'clock on a Sunday, when it's right for the customer. So this is all about what are your solutions when someone is calling you out of hours? And there's about 3 or 4 different solutions you could have. Some people have backup teams handling those in their care homes, some outsource to call centers. There's like 3 or 4 things that could be going on depending on your situation. But have you thought that through? And what does that look like for you, that process? Are the teams trained? Is there a customer inquiry form capturing that, so that we won't lose leads, which just kills me, that we cherish these and that we'll get back to them very promptly? The cost of missed calls is enormous, and it's one of our biggest conversion gaps is these out of hours response. And then coming down the customer journey, we talk about tour excellence. So the tour is one of your best chances to create an emotional connection. And it should feel like a really personalized, welcoming experience, really getting to know their loved ones as well as their own situations and challenges, likes, dislikes, needs, concerns, anxieties. It's not just a checklist. It's not transactional, 10 minutes. it's a really brilliant moment that has got a lot of skill attached to it. If we would do lots of great training and standards of what does a tour look like, how do we get it to be a five-star experience versus just a one or two star thing, where the lead just drops out the bucket because they think this isn't a great experience. I don't want my mum going through this. Well, again, there's standards we can put in place to have a consistent delivery of excellent tours. So, looking at the good on the left versus the bad on the right, how is your sense of arrival? I mean, that's a word that encapsulates a lot. Is it excellent? So those first 7 seconds, when you think of the curb appeal from someone trying to pull up into your car park, which is often just a horrendous experience, unfortunately, in terms of no car parking available or rubbish on the floor, weeds everywhere, no visitor space. How is that sense of arrival for you? Do you offer a lovely hospitable touch, tea or coffee, to make someone feel welcome and to really make a great impression to start that opening up discovery session? So you don't just launch into a tour that's just totally not personalized. Do you have a very personalized tour because you're building on all those moments of human connection that you've been ascertaining? Have you planned to meet other team members and really members that are relevant? So, for instance, if someone's really into activities or yoga or chair yoga or knitting, have we factored that in when we've done our planning sessions for our tour that we might meet the activities coordinator or that we might meet the chef because our potential resident, George, the father, he is, such a lover of lemon drizzle cake. And we could bump into the chef who could have made lemon drizzle cake that day to give him a nice taste of it. How long is your tour? So the length of it for me would be important about the amount of time we could give people to build that relationship. Were marketing materials provided afterwards, at the end, so that people can have that tangible information that they need to then go back to their loved ones and families and be able to have that transparency and trust of all those moments? So, do we provide brochures? Do we provide sample activities, sample menus, pricing lists? That's really brilliant information for families and potential residents to have. And then what happens at out of hours? So does the touring experience on a weekend, well, firstly, does it even happen if customers want to come in on Saturday or Sunday? And then how is that? Could we train our teams or our backup teams to be able to deliver a great tour on on a weekend because that's the time that it most suits someone to come in, and with our focus on customer excellence, that would be the ideal moment for them. So then we'll come into the fifth area of our practical tips and tricks here to increase occupancy. It's one I mean, I love all of these, but creative follow-ups is a real moment for me of how people can differentiate themselves. Because firstly, we've talked about how many people aren't following up, which, as we said, was quite shocking. But then when we follow up, how do we make it just not vanilla and bland? So follow up is not aggressive or sales. I mean, I have this chat sometimes with care home owners and CEOs. It's absolutely for me about service and providing solutions. That's why people have reached out to us. And it's really important to showcase how we can provide thoughtful and kind and caring follow up in timely manner to deliver excellent customer experiences. So I'm going to show you some ways to deliver what I would say is gold standard follow-ups, not just vanilla or bland. But if we sort of ask a question again, and I might have sort of served this up accidentally about the amount of people that don't follow up. So just looking at an average around the UK, which I benchmark all the time, is three options for us on the screen here about the percentage of people who don't follow up. Do you think it's A, just 20 or 30% don't follow up? Is it B, 30 to 50% don't follow up? Or is it actually over half? If you could please kindly share any thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, we're looking at C. Most people think it's over half.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. And I say it's not brilliant because of the answer. It's just brilliant that you're all um, understanding the opportunity here is massive because unfortunately people are not following up or they're following up once and it's not timely, it's not sequential, it's not thoughtful, it's not original. So the great delivery of this would be to think about our follow-up sequence. So everybody will have slight twists on this. And I'm constantly sort of working these out for people is what is the ideal follow-up sequence or you might say nurturing sequence. So is it, for instance, after the tour that on day one after the visit, you would phone someone to say, thank you so much for coming in. It was amazing to see you. And saying something personal back from the information you learned. Is it day three? There might be an email with something on it that's relevant to them or what you talked about. Could be a guide to a certain piece of information they were looking to go deeper on. And what are these different moments? So I usually map these out for like at least 90 days, but knowing what is the different multi-channel marketing touch points we might use. Some might be a phone call. You might have a few that are emails. Then some might be lumpy mail. So I mean things that come through the post. It could be an invite to an event that is coming up soon, such as a Christmas fair, um, a wine and cheese evening. All different sort of events are happening that are relevant for people. What could that be? Or it could be a thoughtful gift. So, the other day, someone found out someone was really into orchids. So they sent them a lovely, just little seed packet of orchids. It only cost £2 or £3, but that was a massive win and thoughtful moment for the customer. They were blown away. But that turned into an admission. So I would love to encourage the use of creative follow-ups, and I've put some examples here. Creative follow-ups is going deeper. It's not just about doing the follow-up as a checklist, but thinking how do we do it in a lovely, human, personal, nurturing way. Not just maybe thanks for visiting, but instead, here's a handwritten card with a dog on the front because you told me that your mum adores dogs. There's many other lovely follow-ups we could use. I've put some on here. Inviting someone in for a complimentary afternoon tea. We could share a resident testimonial video like we covered before because that's a really strong advocate message there is from the resident, their video. Or that example I said about the lemon drizzle cake or cookies, brownies. We could maybe send them our chef's favorite recipe because they have that on the menu and they wanted to share their recipe. Thoughtful touch, maybe an invite to an event. These are lots of different examples that would really show personality and thoughtfulness. And then there's a difference between what sales are doing and what marketing is doing. And I appreciate many of you on the call, you won't have sales and marketing teams. So these are just other ways of following up that you might have. So there's some examples I put here. Some people send physical newsletters through the post. Some people, they just would put like a flyer through, like a leaflet. Others have email marketing going on where you send out here's our latest updates and events. There's all different ways that we can follow up. And then to finish off this section, which was tip number 5, I would ask you about whether you have any customer experience standards of excellence. So I've put a few on the slide here. I mean, I have about 27, is different tools and resources that communicate what your standards of excellence are for your company. So do you have a customer inquiry form? Do you have a tour walkthrough checklist? Do you have a follow-up email template for day 1? Do you have a follow-up email template for day 7? An inquiry call prompt sheet. There's a whole range of different SOPs or sales process manuals that can be created so that everybody understands what great looks like for your company and that we deliver it consistently. Consistency is everything. It's those marginal gains, those 1% increases that the British cycling team made so popular for everybody to understand the importance of just consistency, and achieving just 1% all the time better will add up to so many. So having standards of excellence is a really great tool and resource that provides that knowledge to everybody about this is what great looks like for us. And then people get trained on it. So then they consistently will be able to perform well, knowing what great looks like. And then finally, the 6th one I would love to cover, and then we'll open this up and have a chat about any areas, would be the importance of measuring what matters. So I'm a real data results geek, and I would be asking you if you are measuring the right metrics to be able to consistently achieve high occupancy levels. So I'm going to put some on the screen that I look at. I mean, there's so many analytics we can look into, but it's all about more thinking about what are the right metrics, the real levers that have a great impact on occupancy. So if I show you some that I will always look at, and I don't look at this just for the care home, I look at it either for the town or for the city or the UK as an average. So you've got a benchmark as what are the right metrics for your occupancy journey. So at the top of the funnel, where we started today, would be, do you have a record of how many quality leads you're getting in per month? So not quantity, all really quality leads. So these are not job seeker inquiries, for instance. This is really great quality leads. And do you have 20 to 25 per month, or what do you have? And then how does it compare to the industry benchmark? And then the conversions. So sometimes people just say, oh, my conversion is X. And it's about knowing, but which part of the customer journey conversion are you referring to? Because there's 3 I've just put on the slide here, and understanding what your conversion moment is at each of these points is really critical to knowing where is that bottleneck, or where is that leaky bucket that I could do better at. So how about your lead to visit? Is it you get a good number of leads, but then you don't have that many people come in and visit? Well, what's happening there then? Is it the phone calls need a lot of improvement? And how do they compared to the industry benchmark? So I've put fictitious examples here on the screen, but just to give you an example of saying what is our number, and then how does this compare to the industry benchmark? Is it positive or negative, red or green? And then what about visit to move in? So do you actually have a lot of people visit, but then you might only get 14% move in versus say 45%? That would be a bottleneck then. Or is it conversion from lead to move in? So that's the whole part of the journey. Is that just 7%? So tracking this information and just seeing every month how it moves, and what targets you can set against this to show that you're consistently improving is really vital for improving your occupancy. Just consistently being curious about where you are and how you benchmark to others. And yeah, I
I've
would
got a
just like
quick,
to
thank
thank
you,
you.
Ali. I've got a quick question in the chat
Yes.
because I'm conscious we've only got 3 minutes left. Lizzie says, what would you say is a good average conversion to visit rate? No, the visit, you know what I mean. An average conversion rate from visiting to move in or from um, lead to move in.
So from visit to, and thank you for the question. So from visit to move in, where they're already interested, I would say a great conversion would be over 50%. But more from the beginning of the funnel, so more like lead through to move in would be lower, obviously. I'd say good would be over 20%. Yes, we can email those slides. Absolutely. I have your emails because you kindly signed up on Eventbrite.
Yes.
Benchmarks, I could send them to you. I mean, I'm always amalgamating those myself because in England, we don't capture those on a nationwide basis in terms of sales and marketing. We only have some bigger high level metrics, whereas this detail is really powerful.
Yeah, I think the benchmarking, I think some sets of benchmarks are quite helpful. And I'm assuming that it's kind of different depending on the size of organization that you are and actually the size of the service that you're looking to um, where you're looking to, you know, the number of people you can who can live in that service at any one time, presumably. Because
Yeah,
if you've got a smaller service, it's going to be different to if you've got a bigger, you know, 60 room care setting or something like
yeah. Hmm.
that. Okay. Well, well, lots of people have stayed till the end, Ali. That
Oh,
means that
great.
they
Well,
were
thank
listening.
you. Yeah.
A few people have had to drop off.
Yep.
I think everyone's very delighted that they've been able to come and listen. Um, yeah, and a couple of other points about this recording and the slides.
Mm.
Um, so yes, so it'd be interesting to have your feedback. Do drop us a line. And if
Yeah.
there's more detail that you'd like to know, we know where Ali is.
Yeah.
So we can connect you to her. Um, there is a QR code.
It was a
Is it?
QR code. Yeah, you're right. I write tons of guides, so I live the stuff I share. And yeah, I think I put one up that was a conversion guide
Yeah,
that I wrote. But write to me about any others or check out my website. I have a whole occupancy optimization guide as well. And yeah.
brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ali.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank
Brilliant for
you.
your
Thank you
great
for bringing
engagement.
your, yeah, thanks for your insights. Thanks for sharing. Um, Thanks to everybody who's come along today. Uh, the recording and the slides will be available and we'll send them out, but we'll also put the recording on the website, I think. And yeah, have a great rest of the day. Thank you, everybody, for spending your
Yeah. Thank
lunchtime
you for
with
that.
us.
Yeah, yeah. Happy Monday. Have a fabulous week.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care,
Take care.
everybody. Bye
Bye. Thank
now.
you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Hi everyone, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.